Welcome back to another show of our NBA weekly recap show. I got my guy Keezy over here because we practicing social distancing today. I had to go get tested for COVID, so you know what I'm saying, we just waiting on the results. So we want to make sure everybody stays safe out there. But other than that, Keezy, how you feeling?
I feel good, man. I feel real good.
You feeling real good. Well, man, let's get right onto some of these games. The NBA's back. It kicked off on Thursday, and it kicked off with a bang. It kicked off with the Lakers versus Clippers, which is a matchup that everybody has been waiting to see, especially since the NBA postponed the season right when the Lakers and Clippers were really, starting to hit their peak. The Clippers were full force, even though the Lakers beat them in full force, but that's neither here nor there. So, Keezy, let me know your thoughts about the Lakers Clippers kickoff matchup that they had last Thursday.
So, even though the Lakers ended the game with the win, they had the higher score. I still feel like the Clippers won.
So
because without
go ahead.
lemon pepper Lou, no Montrez, and the half of the Clippers team, not even really being in the bubble for a certain amount of time, I feel like the Lakers should have came out and put their foot on their neck and just blown them out the building, but they barely won.
Man, Keezy, I'm actually right there with you. And when we was going over the topics for this week's show, and you said you wanted to do, because I didn't want to do the Lakers Clippers recap, but you said you wanted to bring it up, and
yeah, right.
I didn't want to bring it up for the reasons you just stated. Is that realistically the Clippers should have won. I mean, the Clippers are 10-1 when they have a fully healthy team. The only loss is against the Lakers. So for everybody out there saying, well, if the Clippers was healthy, then they would have won. That's not necessarily true, because the Lakers did beat them when they were fully healthy. But that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is the Clippers should have won that game. I mean, AD played phenomenal. LeBron, he had a less than well, let's just call it what it is, Keezy. He played horrible. You know what I'm saying? He shot 6 for 19,
he played bad,
which was 31%, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 turnovers, 16 points. I mean, meanwhile, you had AD, he was 8 for 19, 42%, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, but he had 34 points. Like you said, the Lakers should have blown them out for this reason: points in the paint. The Lakers had 40 to the Clippers 24, Keezy. That right there, it should have been a blowout, man. It should have been a blowout. And I'm gonna say this, Keezy. I'm concerned for the Lakers, man. I'm really concerned for the Lakers. Based off the last 2 games that they've played, I honestly don't know if they got enough, man. LeBron is playing like he's in year 17. AD the other night went 2 for 7 against the Raptors. For a championship contending team, you can't take 7 shots, man.
AD hasn't shot the ball well from the field. He's been good from the free throw line.
Oh, he's been money from the free throw line.
Yeah. 8 for 19 against the Clippers, and what was he, 2 for 7 or something like that against the Raptors?
Mm-hmm. Like AD
so he's 10 for 26 from the field, but
that's not gonna get it done, Keezy. So LeBron had the good defensive stance at the last possession of the Clippers game, but man, to be honest, Keezy, I'm worried, I'm concerned. LeBron's not playing well. AD is hit and miss. We talked about it, last night through text messaging, that the Lakers offense it seemed off. Like I
have no idea what they were doing.
Yeah, it just
for AD to only get 7 touches against Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. The same game plan they had against the Clippers should have been the same game plan they had against Toronto. That should be the same game plan they have against everybody.
I don't understand that. I really don't, because they won with points in the paint. The Lakers had 40 points in the paint, and the Raptors had 34. So you could get buckets down low, but like you said, for whatever reason, whatever the game plan was last night against the Raptors, they need to scrap that game plan, because obviously that shit ain't working.
They're not gonna win on the back of Alex Caruso.
I mean, Alex played big, Kuzma played big, but yeah, man, I'm really concerned about my Lakers pick, because they just don't look flowing. And the Clippers last night, although it was against the Pelicans, but Man, the Clippers last night though, bruh. I mean,
See, the way the Clippers came out against the Pelicans was the way I expected the Lakers to play against the Clippers. Come out, make a statement, let them know, look, we here, we know y'all here too, but this is what it is, and we gonna show y'all, that we here to win this championship. But I
obviously
don't know.
not. Let me ask you this. I think Paul George has been the best player since the games have started. What about you?
Paul George, James Harden, and Giannis have probably been the best three players I've seen since it restarted.
I would say, but we gonna get into that a little bit more. Let's go ahead and switch over from the Lakers Clippers topic because man, talking about my Lakers and LeBron James and the way he's playing is hurting my heart because LeBron he's not producing like I thought he would with the restart. The NBA has implemented Black Lives Matter all on the basketball court. Players have, kneeled in solidarity to also bring awareness to the social injustices that's going on in the world today. Keezy, before we get on the Jonathan Isaac comments, what are your thoughts on Black Lives Matters being on the court and the players kneeling?
I mean, I think it's good because this was one of the things that everybody talked about was if the NBA started, then it would take away from protesting and the movement that's trying to be made. But since the NBA is all in with it, then I think that it's okay for the game to continue, and they actually have a platform now to continue with everything. Because every time they interview a coach, every time they interview a player, they make sure they ask them a question about it and allow them to speak about what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I think that is the dope part is that every post game or even during the game, the players make sure they keep, putting the foot on the gas pedal to help bring awareness. Of course, all the players, majority of the players have, sayings on the back of their jerseys. But man, I think it's dope that the NBA implemented the Black Lives Matters on the court because for everybody watching, you have to see that. Black, white, Asian, whatever your ethnicity is, you have to see the Black Lives Matter on the court. So if you want to watch NBA basketball, you have to see the Black Lives Matter on the court. So I think that's dope. As far as the players kneeling, let me ask you this, Keezy. Do you think the players kneeling is going to be through the whole rest of the restart, or do you think it's just going to be for the first couple of games and then, they'll go back to normal?
I hope it's through the whole thing. I expect LeBron and I expect certain teams and stuff like that to do it the entire time, but I don't know if everybody will.
Yeah, same here, man. I think that, let me change that. I think they will continue to do it through the rest of the restart. Only because I don't think certain players want to be that player not to do it. And speaking of that player not to do it, Orlando Magic forward Jonathan Isaac, and I forgot who they played against. Keezy, you might not remember, but
doesn't matter. It's the Magic. Yeah.
You say it's the Magic, but during the national anthem, as y'all been watching the games, all the players have been taking a knee, except for Coach Popovich and Becky Hammond, which I'm cool with Coach Pop because he's been vocal about Black Lives Matters and everything. So I'm cool with him not taking. He's been vocal
about everything for the last 5 or 6 years. So.
Yeah, so I'm cool with him not taking a knee because I already know where he stands with everything. But Orlando forward Jonathan Isaac didn't take a knee, and then when they asked him about it after the game, he had these comments, which I'm about to play a real quick clip of his comments of why he didn't kneel.
Hey, so I have a two-part question for you. So you didn't kneel during the anthem, but you also didn't wear a Black Lives Matter shirt. Do you believe that Black Lives Matter?
Absolutely. I believe that Black Lives Matter. A lot went into my decision, and part of it is, first off, is my thought that kneeling or wearing the Black Lives Matter T-shirt don't go hand in hand with supporting Black lives, and so I felt like just me personally, what it is that I believe in, standing on the stance that I do believe that Black Lives Matter, but I just felt like it was the decision that I had to make, and I didn't feel like putting that shirt on and kneeling went hand in hand with and every day do things that we shouldn't do. We say things that we shouldn't say. We hate and we dislike people that we shouldn't hate and dislike. And sometimes it gets into a point where we point fingers about whose evil is worse. And sometimes it comes down to simply whose evil is most visible. So I felt like I wanted to just take a stand on. I feel like we all make mistakes, but I think that the gospel of Jesus Christ is that there's grace for us, and that Jesus came and died for our sins, and that if we all will come to an understanding of that and understand that God wants to have a relationship with us, that we can get past skin color, we can get past all the things in our world that are messed up, jacked up. I think when you look around, racism isn't the only thing that plagues our society, that plagues our nation, that plagues our world. And I feel like, coming together on that message that we want to get past not only racism, but everything that plagues us as a society. I feel like the answer to it is the gospel.
That was Jonathan Isaac's comments about, why he didn't take a knee during the national anthem. I'm gonna let Keezy go in on this because, man, I'm not saying that his reasons weren't legit, because you believe what you believe in, and that's cool. You threw the Bible in there and everything, and I can't disagree with somebody who wants to base their things off of what their religious beliefs is. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, that's on you. But what I will say is that a comment he made that stood out to me was the kneeling and wearing the t-shirt doesn't go hand in hand with the Black Lives Matter movement. I don't understand that, because when you're kneeling and wearing the Black Lives Matter t-shirts and back of jerseys, it's to bring awareness to the movement and the injustices to black and brown people. So I don't think he really thought this through. It was one of those things, Keys, I'm pretty sure you can attest to this, where you think of something, you like, yeah, that's a good idea, yeah, but you ain't got nobody around to tell you, bro, that ain't. And then once you do it, you already jumped in the fire, so it's like, dang, I gotta roll with this joint now. So I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying, you know what I'm saying, because the whole point of the kneeling and the shirts is to continuously bring awareness to what's going on, which goes hand in hand with the movement. So Keezy, I want to know your thoughts on this.
So anybody that says they're not kneeling for religious purposes, that's fine. But this, in my opinion, has nothing to do with religion. Mm-hmm. But he said that we're all created equal and we're all created in God's likeness. If that's the case, and everybody's supposed to believe that, then why are we being treated differently? Mm-hmm. So basically the point he was making, he just contradicted himself, because that's the exact reason for everything. Is because black people and brown people are being treated differently just because of the color of our skin. So if we're all created equal, then we shouldn't have an issue with, with being black. I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm kind of angry at him, but I'm gonna let him slide this time. But I'm kind of angry about it. But it just doesn't add up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm kind of pissed off about it too, to be quite honest, because like you said, 1 + 1 don't equal 9, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you don't want to kneel because what's the Miles Leonard for the Blazers, right? He didn't kneel because he said it just wasn't in his heart to do. Cool, I get that. You know what I'm saying? But to go on this explanation, like you said, Keezy, to throw up Bible scriptures, but in the image of God, we're all created equal. So would you want to do something to fight for equality for everybody if that's what the Bible is teaching you to do? You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm right there with you, Keezy. It don't make sense to me. It really doesn't. I think, like I said, it was just one of those things where he jumped out there. He thought it was a good idea, but then it's like, nah, bro. So,
if somebody doesn't want to kneel, that's fine. I have no issue with that. If you don't want to kneel, you don't want to kneel. But don't come up with some crazy off the wall BS explanation that contradicts everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing to back you up, Keezy. The things he was saying, like, it did contradict itself, because what they're doing is bringing attention to the same thing that he's saying is not bringing attention. But anyways, man, I ain't even gonna keep on getting into it, buddy. The whole NBA bubble, man, the broadcast style has been different. Of course, there's no actual quote unquote fans in the stands, but they do have the virtual fans, and of course, You know, you can hear a lot of the chatter that's on the court, and you know, bless ESPN's heart, they try their best to catch all the cussing and everything on the court
Yeah,
before.
they doing the best they can.
That's why I said they bless their heart. They trying. But Keezy, what's your thoughts on the whole NBA bubble broadcast style?
I mean, it's been cool. I haven't really, because they don't show the fans a lot. It's mostly on court action, which hasn't really changed. You can't really tell that they're in a little small space with just the players and the coaches, teammates, everything like that. But I mean, I think they've done a great job with it so far.
The only thing, I'm right there with you, but the only thing I wish they would do is I wish they would show the virtual fans more. Like get their reaction from what's going on in the games at particular times. It's like they might cut to it once or twice, you know what I'm saying? Or if an ex-NBA player is watching, or if a NBA player whose team didn't make it, they might cut to them. But I think it'd be real dope if they like pan it to show the reaction of some of the fans, because I was reading up on it, and you can actually virtually high five the person that's next to you. So like, if your team makes a good play, you can show them virtually high five and whatnot. But man, you gonna be a virtual fan, Keezy?
Nah, I'm good, man. I'll virtually just be at the house.
I ain't gonna lie. I thought about it. I Googled it and clicked on the link, and I was about to fill out the application. I seriously thought about being a virtual fan, but I was like, nah, bro, I never heard the end of that story, bro.
You ain't gonna have much to cheer for though, so.
Huh?
You won't have much to cheer for. It'll just be a lot of sad faces coming from you.
With the way the Lakers and the playing right now, you right about that, because they playing like. But anyways, so NBA restart is in full gear. You have the games kicking off today, which is Sunday. We're going to get into the list of games, key matchups is to pay attention to throughout the rest of the week that you might want to tune into. I'm going to go ahead and kick off the game today as one of my key matchups, which is you have the Bucks versus the Rockets. The reason why I feel like this is a key matchup for one reason only: the Giannis versus James Harden beef. I want to see if there's going to be any chatter on the court, because we can actually hear it now. I want to see if there's going to be any chatter on the court between those two. But Keezy, what's one of your key matchups for the week?
Man, there's a lot going on. The Lakers and the Rockets play this week.
Okay.
I want to see how that small ball from the Rockets works against the Lakers when they have AD and JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard.
That was one of my key matchups.
And see what LeBron does, basically.
I'm done talking about that game. I'm not speaking that guy's name until he scores over 30 points. I'm not speaking his name until he scores over 30 points. That's it. But another one of my key matchups is going to be actually tomorrow's matchup against the Grizzlies versus the Pelicans. This matchup I picked for two reasons. It's Monday, like I said, it's Monday at 6:30 p.m. The Grizzlies are going to be playing off of back-to-back. They play today, and of course they'll play tomorrow. So I want to see how they play off of a back-to-back during this run. Also, I want to see how the Pelicans respond after that 90,000-point blowout that they experienced from the Clippers. I want to see how they bounce back, because they don't play today. So tomorrow will be their first game since that blowout. So I want to see how the Pelicans respond, because to me, Keezy, you might feel a different way, but I think the Pelicans' playoff chances are done. I think it's between the Grizzlies, Trailblazers, and the Spurs for that A spot. I think Pelicans are done, but I just want to see how they respond. What's another one of your key matchups for the week?
Yeah, I think that A spot is down to the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
I'm not really as worried about the Grizzlies on a back-to-back, because you check the box score from their games. It's all the young guys that do all the work. Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Clark, and
Dylan Brooks.
The other dude that played at Oregon, I can't remember his name. Yeah, Dylan Brooks. So, I think they'll be fine. They still got young legs. But what else we got this week? So the Bucks have a lot of big games this week. They play the Heat. They play the Rockets. And then the Celtics got a couple games. The Heat have some big games. The Heat play the Raptors, the Bucks, and the Celtics coming up this week. So a lot of big matchups for them, especially in playoff seeding.
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to say, man. A lot of matchups with playoff seeding. There's a couple of these matchups I want to get your thoughts on. Another one of my matchups I had was this Tuesday, like you just mentioned, the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics play Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Outside of the Celtics and Trailblazers, which play today, I want to see how Jason Tatum responds to his horrible game against the Bucks that he had last week.
That was ugly. That was ugly against the Bucks.
I want to see how Jason Tatum, backs it up this week. But hopefully he comes out strong. That was one of my picks. Another one of my picks was the Rockets versus Trailblazers, which is Tuesday as well. The reason why I had that is because you got Dame and CJ versus Russ and James Harden. I want to see who got the best backcourt in the NBA right now, man. What about you? What's another one you got?
We got the Clippers and the Mavs this week also. I'm just interested to see how Kawhi does. I mean, he looked okay against New Orleans. There were spots against the Lakers where he looked good, but to me, it doesn't like he's got his legs yet. So I just want to see how he's improving physically in the bubble. He looked slow in that game against the Lakers. Other than that one blow by with LeBron, other than that, he looked slow.
He did. He looked a little sluggish. He doesn't look like he's fully got his legs. Paul George looked like he got his legs up underneath him, but Kawhi, he looked like he's still rounding into shape. Another game, man, like you said, the Heat and the Bucks got a lot of big games this week, which is my Thursday matchup at 4 p.m., the Heat versus Bucks. But this is the reason why, Keezy. I looked this up. A minimum of 2 games that Giannis has played against. He's played against the Heat for 2 games. So a minimum of 2 games against every single opponent. Giannis has played his worst against the Miami Heat. He's averaging 21 points per game, shooting 46%. He's averaging 16 rebounds, which is dope. But he's shooting 54% from the free throw line, 5 turnovers, and a big old goose egg from the three-point line. Now, he's normally averaging 29 points per game, 55% from the field, 13 rebounds a game, 63% from the free throw line, and 30% from 3. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to play against the Miami Heat, because typically he doesn't have good games against them. So I want to see what he's going to come out with on this Thursday. What about you, Keezy?
I want to see that too, because that's the matchup that I think is going to be cool if they play in the playoffs. I think the Heat might be able to make that upset, advance in the playoffs.
Yeah, and then another one like you mentioned earlier was the Lakers versus Rockets, man. The big ball versus small ball. For those who watching, it was right when the Rockets went to the small ball lineup is when they beat the Lakers. So they split the season series so far 1-1. But what stood out to me, Keezy, was this stat right here. If I had to throw out a rebounding advantage to you, who would you automatically think it is?
You would think the Lakers.
It is, but only by 2 rebounds, bruh. The rebounds is 43 to 41. That's it. 2 rebounds. And the points per game is the Lakers at 117 and the Rockets at 118. So the Rockets is right there with them with their small ball lineup. So I'm really interested to see how the Lakers perform against the Rockets. And then, like you said, Friday, you got the Celtics and Raptors. That's a lot of people's Eastern Conference final pick, especially from what they did to the Lakers. You got any more matchups, Keezy?
I still don't believe in the Raptors. They played good last night. I still don't believe in them, man. I just can't do it. Man, they got a lot off the back of Kyle Lowry last night, and I just don't have faith in him going down the stretch. I don't think he can lead them to the finals again.
Eastern Conference Finals or NBA Finals?
Either one.
Either one. Either or. And then my last matchup was the Clippers and Trailblazers. The only reason why I have that is because the Trailblazers are a lot of people's sleeper pick, so that's why I went with them. I just want to see what they play up matchup against the Clippers. And speaking of that,
if they get that 8th spot and they play the Lakers in the first round, that'd be very interesting.
It's gonna be trouble. It's gonna be a lot of trouble. This is what Bernie Mac said: trouble. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of trouble. But speaking of that Lakers Raptors matchup that we just had last night, the Raptors won 107-92. Let's touch on that a little bit, Keezy, before we get out of here. LeBron, he was 7 for 15, 46%, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 turnovers, 20 points. Keezy, I'm going to put it to you like this, man. Before the season started, LeBron said they're gonna run through AD, correct?
Correct.
So how in the hell am I supposed to run it through a guy who's only gonna shoot it 7 times? Like, what am I supposed to do with
There
that?
were so many plays. They didn't even look at him. I was so confused watching the game. They didn't even look at AD. It was like he was like they were playing pickup and he was the last dude they picked, and the other four had been running together all day. He was the last dude there, like, nah, don't give him the ball, bro. Don't pass it to him.
What'd you say? Like pick up when one of your partners leave. Y'all been running all day. One of your partners leaves, so you're like, man, anyone y'all want to run? And he
We
says,
need
yeah.
one.
And you just pick him up just so you can get 5 on the court.
Come on, bro. Come on, man. We just need a body. Come on, bro.
But what's
right.
crazy, Keys, is that the Lakers actually won points in the paint, 40-34. So that's why I don't understand why they wasn't going to AD in the post more often. I don't get it, man.
Because there's nothing that Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, or anybody else on that Raptors squad can do with AD. If he did what he did to the Clippers, imagine what he would have done against the Raptors. I don't understand.
I don't either. That's what's so confusing, Keezy, is because he put up 34 against the Clippers and then turned around and shoot 7 shots and only 14 points against the Raptors.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was him or if it was the game plan. That's why I'm so confused.
Well, if it was a game plan, whoever put that game plan together needs to get fired. Whether it was Jason Kidd, Frank Vogel, LeBron, whoever put that game plan together is fired.
And I'm gonna go on record and say in year 17, LeBron, and we talked about it a little bit, he doesn't have the ability to flip that switch no more in the fourth quarter and turn it on. And like in year 17, he can't do that. I don't know if the year 17 legs have finally caught up to him, but some just don't look right, man. Like he has spurts of explosiveness, but he I don't know, Keezy, man. That's my Lakers pick. LeBron.
That's what I was telling you last night. Like they played the Clippers. They had, Kawhi and PG that they could throw to him, and one of the Morris twins. So they had 3 big dudes they could put on LeBron. Last night, the Raptors, they had Siakam on them. Mm-hmm. They had OG, whatever his name is, they had him. And LeBron just hasn't looked good against either one. So I don't know if, because even when they play the Raptors, they got, Covington they can throw at him. I mean, the Rockets, they got Covington they can throw at him. They got a PJ Tucker there, a lot of bodies they can throw at him. So I don't know. I don't know if he's waiting. He's trying to let everybody else get in the flow during these play-in games or whatever, and then he's going to try to turn it up, when the playoffs start, or what's going on.
That brings up a good, interesting topic before we go to the next topic. You think that, I don't want to say he's coasting, but he knows they pretty much got the number 1 seed locked up. I think the Clippers are, 6 or 7 games behind. Unless the Lakers lose every single game from here on out, I don't see the Clippers taking the number 1 seed.
They're going to be the number 1 seed, yeah.
Yeah, so that backs up a good point. Do you think he's just quote unquote coasting until the playoffs, and then he's going to turn into playoff LeBron? What you think that's what he's doing?
That's the only other thing I can think of, because otherwise they're in trouble. I think more than anything he's trying to get everybody else involved, let everybody else get in the flow of everything, and then when the playoffs come, he's back to regular old LeBron. I think.
Well, Bron, first and foremost, I need you to stop shooting them damn sidestep threes. Let's start there for how we gonna make this thing work, because I'm about tired of seeing that.
He shoots that sidestep better than he does just a spot up 3.
Bro, I'm about tired of seeing that. Every time I cringe. I love you, Brown, but I mean, man, that sidestep 3, bro, you got to. But yeah, I'll be the first to admit, Keezy, LeBron is not playing well right now at all, and it's starting to make me wonder: can he carry a team by himself anymore? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was thinking about last night when I was watching that game, like against the Raptors when he was with Cleveland 2 seasons ago. That LeBron could beat the Raptors by himself. What was that, year 15 LeBron? Year 17, I don't know if LeBron can beat them by himself like that. I don't know if he's that LeBron anymore. But we can wrap this thing up. But Keezy, before we go, what things have you noticed and what has stood out for you in these last couple of days of the NBA restart?
It's been fast and furious. Paul George, Giannis, and James Harden have been good. Been some disappointments. But just for the NBA to be back and for them to be in that bubble and continue to still play games, keep it moving, has been fantastic. I hope it keeps working out. Hope they don't end up like Major League Baseball, where a lot of positive tests. But I mean, everything's been good so far, and there have been so many high-scoring games. I don't know if the rims are different in the bubble or people just aren't playing defense yet or what's going on. But there's been a lot of 140s, 130. I think the Rockets scored 150 the other night. It wasn't overtime, but I think they put up 150 points. But been a lot of high-scoring games.
Man, you took my things to notice, which was the high-scoring games on Friday alone. Every game that played, the average score was 125 points per game. I think it was an NBA record for most points per game on a day for NBA teams. So I'm right there with you. I don't know if it's the defense. I don't know if it's just players just getting these shots up because they ain't played in 4-5 months, so they getting it in.
They really don't have anything else to do. All they can do is practice and go fish and play golf.
So like they shooting up, they getting up these shots like no other. So now that was one thing for me, Keezy, that stood out too, was the high scoring games. The second thing was, which was to be expected, was, bro, it's so many turnovers, man. Like I get it, it's gonna be some sloppy play because everybody's starting to get back in the routine of things, but Keezy, some of these turnovers is like elementary school turnovers.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, man, I don't get some of these. And to go back to your high scoring, no disrespect, but my dude TJ Warren put up 53 yesterday.
Man, and see, that's another reason I don't have faith in the 76ers. Come on, man. TJ Warren, you let him give you 50 piece? Come on, man.
My dude had 29 at halftime. Shout out to Pete, because that's Pete's pick to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is the 76ers. Yeah,
they can't even get along with each other.
Bro, they on the sideline fighting and stuff. Now Joel Embiid, he did have 49. I want to say 40, 41. So he put in
41 and like 20 rebounds.
If Joel Embiid gets you 40 and 20, you supposed to win that game. You supposed to win that game. But the fact that they let North Carolina State's very own TJ Warren go off for 53, who got traded to the Indiana Pacers from the Phoenix Suns for cash considerations. So they didn't even get nothing for him, but they got a couple dollars in Phoenix for my dude. And he came out, gave him 53.
A washing machine and a bag of money.
They told my dude, you give us some Newports and a pack of Jordans and you got him. You can have him.
And you gone. See you.
But man, we appreciate everybody for tuning in to another show of our NBA Weekly Recap Show. Keys, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Clippers are going to win the championship.
You know what, man? I'm this close. I'm this close, Keezy, to coming over, man.
I can't believe it, man. This has been crazy the last couple of weeks. You've been agreeing with me a lot. I've been saying a lot of bad stuff about LeBron, and you've been right there with me. I can't believe it.
Hey, because man, I keep trying to tell people I'm an objective LeBron fan. Like, when he's playing trash, he's playing trash. But when he's playing great, I'm gonna praise my dude. But right now, he's playing very. I just say he's trash because we expect greatness from LeBron, right? So for him to play like he's been playing is pretty much trash. Like you said, I don't know if he's coasting or what, but right now it ain't it. And AD, I'm gonna need you to get it together, my guy, because what I tell you on last week's show, averaging 9 rebounds a game in the playoffs, it ain't gonna cut. Like, AD needs to be 25 and 12 for the Lakers to make a deep playoff run. And right now, he ain't it. It ain't it. But anyways, we get ready to get on up out of here. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another NBA Weekly Recap Show. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook at KY Beyond the Game. You can catch us on Instagram at Beyond the Game KY. Make sure also, if you can't catch the show visually, to also go back and listen to the podcast on Apple, iTunes, Google Play Store, and Spotify as well. We getting ready to get on up out of here. We want you to treat somebody how you want somebody to treat your mama. We out of here.